So it's been a while, and I'm back with an update and a little bit of a story. Today, on Topher's Take. Hey, so I imagine most of you are on my Facebook or following me on Facebook, and you probably know about what's been going on with me through that, but for those of you who, subscribe to my YouTube and aren't on my Facebook, I thought I'd give you guys a bit of an update on life and why I haven't been around as much as I was. About June 2024, I got diagnosed with cancer. A form of a blood cancer which also affects the bones called multiple myeloma. So I've been dealing with that and doing treatments, and good news is the cancer is in remission, but I'm still going to have to, deal with it. I'm still going to have to do treatments, probably not as much. I'm also doing a clinical trial to see if a drug would help. It's usually used maybe later on in the process, but they want to see if they can get it started sooner. Between, that and some other stuff, I just haven't really had a whole lot of time or desire to do podcasts. I just wanted to focus on me and life. And I also haven't had a whole lot, to talk about that. I have it thrown out there on, my Facebook page. And maybe some longer posts, but today I got a bit of a story for you after that nice little update. So, it's the holiday season, and this year is always bittersweet for me. This time of year is bittersweet for me because, as some of y'all may know, I actually do Hanukkah instead of Christmas, and I want to tell a little bit of a story about Hanukkah. And I'm sure you guys know, the basic story. Hanukkah is a festival of lights. That they had to rededicate the temple, but they only had enough oil for one night, but it lasted the whole ceremony, the whole 8 days that it would have taken to rededicate it. Well, that's the end of the story. And I want to talk about the beginning, of the Maccabean era. You see, why did they get to the point where they needed to rededicate the temple? How did they get there? You see, the Greeks came and started taking over the Holy Land. And I'm bad at my chronology on this, so I'd imagine, they started taking over, it was changes. Oh, it's okay, eat pork, forget the kosher laws, just eat a little bit of pork. It's okay, hey, you guys have your temple? We have a temple. Not the same gods, but hey, let's sacrifice in the same temple. Oh, you have these traditions? Well, we don't like those traditions, so get rid of them. And slowly, the Jewish culture changed into Greek culture. It became more and more Greek. Until the Maccabees stood up and said, no, enough is enough. And they led a rebellion, a revolt. They used guerrilla warfare and actually won. They earned the right to keep their festivals, to eat kosher, to keep true to their religion and faith. But you see, because of the sacrifices to the false gods in the temple, they had to rededicate it. And that is where we get the familiar story of Hanukkah, and the oil and the lamp and the menorah. So why am I bringing this up? Because in 2 different conversations, it's been brought up to me. Now, in different ways, mind you, like, one of my friends sent me a video earlier today, kind of talking about this. Well, okay, so it's more of a little bit of a rap, but I was thinking, and I was talking with one of my friends last night, about the holidays, and I wonder how much worldly stuff we have in Christmas. Now, mind you, I said worldly, okay? I didn't say pagan. I didn't say Wiccan. I didn't say any of that. I am not calling any of that pagan or Wiccan. At least not right now, because I honestly don't think, the majority of what I'm going to talk about Christmas, is pagan, or can be proved to be pagan. I'm just saying it's worldly. Like, I cannot find a Christmas tree anywhere in the Nativity story. I can't find Santa, North Pole, elves, flying reindeer, any of that in the Nativity story in the Bible. About the closest thing that, we have in our holiday traditions that might maybe be traced to something in the Bible is gift giving, in honor of the wise men who brought gifts to Christ. And even that managed to be secularized. I mean, now we got to give gifts to our dog walker? Really? We give gifts to a lot of people this time of year, people that we might not even have that great a relationship with the rest of the year. And I'm like, that got me thinking a little bit. You see, if you took the average Christian house and looked at how they celebrated Christmas, would it really be any different than the average secular house and how they would celebrate Christmas? I mean, you still probably have your Santa on both of them. You know, all the North Pole mythology. You still have, like, gifts. You probably still have lights. You would probably have a lot of very similar holiday traditions between Christians and secular people. And the question I posed to my friend last night is, can you honestly tell me what's the difference between a Christian celebrating Christmas and a pagan? Now I know, you're all going to bounce back, oh, it's, the nativity story, and all this. But are we really celebrating that? Or are we just celebrating the holiday? Because just like the Greek culture back in the Maccabees' day mingled with the Jewish culture, I think a lot of secular culture has mingled with Christian culture in our celebration of the holidays, in our celebration of, Christmas. And I wonder, when are we going to say, hey, enough is enough? I mean, either this is a Christian holiday or it's not, And if it is a Christian holiday, we need to yell at people. We need to be like, hey, quit celebrating our holiday. And if it's not a Christian holiday, if it's just secular and worldly, then we need to stop celebrating it. At least in the way the world does. You see, I'll admit, I do celebrate the Nativity. But I do it in a little bit of a different way than most people do. And I've looked into it some, and I think Christ was born during the Feast of Tabernacles. I mean, if you look back, if you trace when Zechariah would have been in the temple to get the message about John the Baptist being born, and then John's birth to Christ's birth, you get a pretty convincing argument for either around the Feast of Tabernacles or, Passover. My personal preference is, during the Feast of Tabernacles, because of what John said. The Word became flesh and dwelt or tabernacled among us. And it does make sense that they would have a stall or sukkot outside for the animals during that season. So Mary could have given birth in a in a sukkot or a mini tabernacle. Just a thought, and in my mind, that theory makes sense. So I usually remember the Nativity around then, which is early to mid-October. But that's a bit of a tangent. And I think it's not just the holidays. I mean, and I think we're starting to see people stand and be like, hey, no, enough is enough. But we're also seeing people say, hey, yeah, let's be just like the Greeks. Let's be just like the world. I mean, how many churches have split over, the LGBTQ issues? Because you have some people who want to be just like the world, and some people who want to say, hey, this is what the word says, and we're sticking with it. But that was really, what's been on my heart the past couple of days. It's just, are we doing Christmas any different than the world is? Are we really doing it any different than the world is? I mean, aside from maybe a reading of, the Christmas story, or, going to church Christmas Eve, are we really doing it any differently? Or does it look exactly the same? Anyway, that's just my thoughts, on this, and I wanted to get this out there, today. And that's really all I got tonight. So I will see you all later. Peace. Oh, and I forgot my takeaway. Don't be like the world. Be like Christ. Be like be like the Bible that you believe in. And be like your Messiah. Peace.